So we're going to talk a little bit about what the cost of attendance is. Tuition, people hear, oh, the tuition in Florida is very inexpensive. Well, compared to other states in the United States, that's true. The tuition in Florida is lower than many, many states, but tuition isn't the only cost to go to college. So we talk about the cost of attendance. The cost of attendance includes not just tuition and fees, but room and board, transportation, books, miscellaneous. And in Florida, an average cost of attendance to go to a four-year university is closer to $18,000, where the tuition and fees may only be $4,000 or $5,000. The federal government this year has required all the schools to have what's called a net price calculator on their websites. So when you're going and looking at what's it going to cost me to go to this institution, you'll find something called a net price calculator. And you can go and they'll ask you a few questions and they'll calculate for you what, based on your income, number of people in your family, your income, how many people in your family are in college, and do they think you will have to pay. They will even, I've obviously done this for a couple of the schools, they will ask you for your son or daughter's grade point average and test scores, and they will give you a wild guess, although it's an educated wild guess. I mean, obviously the output is based on what you put in, the information you put into it, but they'll give you an idea of what you might have to pay to go to that one institution on an annual basis. That's very helpful just to give you a swag. I will also share that in the state of Florida, public institutions are very affordable. But private institutions are also affordable. Many, many private institutions, four-year, SACS accredited, degree-seeking institutions will offer what's called tuition discounting. So the price tag might look like $30,000, but they'll discount it by $10,000. Financial packaging, back to your financial aid officers. When you end up going or looking at multiple schools, trying to make your decision, each financial aid office, their job, I've heard Randy say, the people at the institutions, it's their job to help each and every individual student look at the resources they have available to them to help them pay for that cost of attendance. So they're going to look at a financial aid package for your individual son or daughter, and they're going to build into that. In Florida, they might build into that some federal Pell money if you're a need-based income. They might build into it Bright Futures that will hope to give them, when they graduate from high school. They'll build into it maybe there's an athletic scholarship or an honor scholarship, or maybe some work study. There's both federal work study and state work study money available. Prepaid. Prepaid is not a state administered program by our office, but it is funds that goes directly to any institution in the state of Florida. You can take it out of the state of Florida. And many times the question I get asked about prepaid and Bright Futures is, can you use them both? And the answer is yes. Bright Futures you can use for any cost of attendance. You can use it for your books, for your housing, for your tuition and fees, for your miscellaneous. Prepaid is specifically targeted to pay from your prepaid account to the institution for your tuition and fees, or tuition, fees, and housing, depending on the contract that you bought. At the very top, you'll see a website, www.floridastudentfinancialaid.org. That is the state website for the 20 different scholarships and grants that the state of Florida has put into law, funds on an annual basis, and we administer. So if you route yourself to floridastudentfinancialaid.org, state scholarships and grants, that's where you'll see a lot of this information. And in addition to Bright Futures, we do have need-based grants, and there are some tuition assistance programs. So there's a lot of funding out there for you to help students go to school. Two important components for your seniors in particular, and then a couple of years after, your juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. In order to participate in state financial aid, they do have to file the state application. Florida Financial Aid application. We open it every December 1. December of your senior year, December 1 in your senior year is when the state application opens. So the first thing you have to do is fill out the state application. Your student has to fill out the state application December 1 of your senior year. Can't do it a year in advance. Doesn't work. We only evaluate seniors. And then we'll go through the whole process of collecting your transcripts, collecting the students' test scores, collecting the students' community service, evaluating who's eligible, and identifying the students that they've met academic criteria. Once the students go to the institution, decide where they're going to go, and want to collect their Bright Futures funding, they are now, as of this current year, required to also fill out the free application for federal student aid, called the FAFSA. Free application for federal student aid, FAFSA. And it says free in it because you don't have to pay to fill it out. Many companies will charge you to help you fill it out, but it is supposed to be a free application. The state application is very simple. We have 30 some odd questions, basically some demographic information on where the student's going to school, a few self-reported pieces of information so we can guesstimate what programs the student needs to be evaluated on. One application for the state will suffice for all the programs that we offer, other than the FAFSA, which is a requirement for many of our need-based applications. So you have to file the state application, and then you should, in my opinion, you should file the FAFSA for other state application, or other state aid in addition to federal aid. The free application for federal student aid, if you did nothing else, if you remember nothing else, that's the one application we highly recommend in the financial aid world that you file, because it is the doorway, the window, the sliding glass into federal aid. So the hardest thing in the world for me to do over the years is to talk to a student or a parent and say, there is no way I can help you with Bright Futures regardless of your 4.0 and your 1600 SATs because you've neglected to file an application. That is a statutory requirement. There is the statute, the law gives us no authority to waive that. And the examples of when that's happened is the student's going to go out of state. I've been accepted at Duke. I'm going there. I can't wait. And I don't need your application or the scholarship, and they leave, and 2 years later they come back. Bright Futures right now allows you to enter the funding within 3 years of high school graduation. And if that student decides after a year or two to come back, they can still take advantage of Bright Futures for the rest of their bachelor's degree. But the students who neglected to file the application because they thought they weren't going to be here have lost out in that. It's a simple 30-question application. Go in there and fill it out.